Hi, I'm Dr. Amanda with Tiger Family Chiropractic and Wellness Center. Thank you for joining me today to discuss a little bit of information about ketosis and the process of consuming a keto diet and how that can be challenging in the beginning stages where someone is quote unquote eating all the right things but not seeing the results of their body being in actual ketosis. And so I wanted to break down a few things. A ketogenic diet is going to be a diet where you're consuming most of your calories in fat. And so if we could use our little pie chart, we would say maybe, hopefully that looks like 80%, maybe 80% of your daily intake of calories are from foods that are fat. And so this could be anything from, literal fats like bacon grease and bacon. You've heard of fat bombs. There's so many things that are fat dominant. Even olives are primarily fat and super healthy for us. So a ketogenic diet is going to be one that focuses on consuming anywhere between usually 70% of your calories to 80% of your calories on a daily intake coming from foods that are fatty in nature. And that's a macronutrient. And so if you're familiar, the macronutrients are going to be fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. So in this situation, the remaining two slots are going to be made up of your carbohydrates and your proteins. I will say that a keto diet is often confused. If you like Pinterest, like I like Pinterest, I'm on there for recipes, which is a totally different subject. I'm a horrible cook, so I don't know why I'm trying. However, especially if I'm in ketosis or working through a ketogenic diet, I'm looking for ideas on there. And I'm just gonna throw out a slight cautionary that many of the resources that you find on that page are looking at things that are low carb. Now that's not necessarily the same as keto, okay? Because you could be really high in protein for that meal and very low in carb, and they're still labeling it as keto. So I just wanted to have the conversation to make sure and differentiate between those two things, that low carb can be keto, but isn't necessarily keto in nature. So ketosis, so there's a ketogenic diet and then there's ketosis. So a ketogenic diet is eating the foods with this ratio, right? Where primarily your calories are coming from fat. Ketosis though, that is the actual process of your body burning fat for energy. And they can be definitely like together, but there's a weird thing that can happen in those of us who are going through this process relating to a ketogenic diet. You can understand it better if you appreciate that most of us started out with a carb heavy diet consumption, right? Like carbohydrates, this little loop made up maybe 80% before, and we're just flipping it around. So historically, most people are carb heavy. And I would say that even proteins eventually get put into this category of excess carbohydrate processing by our body. And I just wanted to explain kind of what happens with that. So we've got keto at the top. Down here, we've got the consumption of, either proteins, carbohydrates, or fats. And I don't know how to make an F the right way. I know that's backwards, but bear with me. So if the protein and the carbohydrate are eaten more than what your body needs to process for daily energy. So let's say that I ate 6 hamburgers for lunch today without the buns. So it was clearly all protein. And then I had some French fries with it, and those were high in carbohydrates. So that meal is more than what my body needs in order to extend the energy to get me from lunch until dinner. So I'm gonna have some to bleed off, some extra. And so what happens inside of your body is that extra carbohydrates and proteins are taken to the liver. And the liver is going to process them into something called glycogen. I know that G is backwards too. Maybe I'll learn how to write backwards. I don't know. I'm going to try it. No, I'm not going to try it. So glycogen is going to be the stored form of sugar that your body can use later for energy. So what happens when you are in a carbohydrate dominant diet is that when you go between meals, your body uses this glycogen store to get through. So let's say that I had breakfast and I had, cereal and oatmeal, and then I didn't eat lunch. And during the time that I went from breakfast to lunch, my body is asking the liver to release any extra glycogen it can in order to feed my body and my brain and things like that. So this is going to be the normal process that happens inside of us when we're eating a carb-heavy diet. So let's go back to that ketosis concept. So what happens when we go to between meals? when we're in ketosis? Well, if you are in ketosis and your body isn't just metabolizing fats that you had from a single meal, then you're not going to have this glycogen. Let me explain it this way. Your body is going to use this up before it starts going into full ketosis. And so here's an example. Say that I eat a full keto meal this morning. I had, let's say I had coconut oil in a cup of coffee with some heavy whipping cream, and I ate some egg yolks. That would be kind of a typical opener for a ketotic diet. So let's say I did that, and then I didn't eat again until dinner. P.S. I'm not recommending this. Intermittent fasting is something I'll talk about in a second. Not everyone is eligible, but I just want to explain the process. So if I'm new to ketosis and I have stored glycogen, my body's still going to use that glycogen to get me to dinner until all the glycogen stores are used up. After I've utilized all of my stored glycogen, even if I've been eating a 100% keto diet, then my body will go into the state of burning stored fat for energy. And that's really what a lot of the process of a ketotic diet and a ketosis mindset is geared toward, is helping your body to go back into a state of having the capacity to burn fat. And so the thing to keep in mind is that you can be doing all the quote unquote right things, eating all the quote unquote right foods for ketosis, and then you could do, let's say, intermittent fasting, which is traditional in that program, and you skip breakfast and you utilize the urine strip and you notice that you're not in ketosis. Even though you've been eating this diet for weeks, each morning you test the strip and it's still not there. It's because your body had a long history of glycogen and you're burning through it slowly. Be patient with yourself. After these stores have been completely depleted, then your body will start burning those fat cells between meals. And that intermittent fasting would then show that if you did the urine strip, that ketones were present. And so it's just something that I wanted to go through because people in the beginning can feel frustrated that they're eating, quote unquote, all the right foods and they're doing the intermittent fasting, but they're not yet in ketosis. It's just a reflection of the history of food patterns that you've had in the past. And I would say that you would probably either fall into a category, excuse me, of someone who ate a high carbohydrate or a high protein diet prior to starting that ketosis pattern. So again, I just wanted to share some information about it. I think that it's an interesting program. It's something that I've done off and on, but not all day. Well, all day, yes, in the times I've done it. It's not a lifetime program for me. I think it's really interesting, has a lot of health benefits, and something that bears looking into and having more research before you decide if it's right for you. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. Take care.